DreamHack Masters Malmö returns, and Dignitas versus Astralis is done and dusted with a not-so-predictable result. Seeing a couple of toilet breaks and a couple of poor shots, but we have also seen Dignitas for the first time in forever picking up a win against their Danish rivals. The domestic matchup posing a different result. Huge amount of noise being produced by the Dignitas boys, Tensky and Rubino, the primary roarers. I'm making that a word, it's the thing now. I've got myself, Thorin, YNK, and Moses for this one. I think we're going to start with the kind of surprise element of this result, right? No one again predicting it for the third time. The desk has entirely got the wrong predictions.
Well, Anders claimed he predicted it, but the problem is...
hang on, wait. We have a waving Dane over there that claims that Dignitas were always going to win.
No, we don't.
Anders just predicts everything about Denmark. Like,
no, he did. No, last night, it was like, it came down to him in the video, and he was just like, I predict the Danish will win. That was it. That was
Mr. Impartial over here.
That's
Mr.
rubbish.
Impartial.
That is rubbish, isn't it?
And then he comes up again with that little smug smile.
I mean, you can't go wrong, right?
Moses, it gets to you.
It does get to me.
Look at that smile. Jesus.
We should just put him up on camera right now. Like, look at this content.
That's
Content guy behind the casting desk.
too much.
Yeah, look at this content. I'd substitute the word content there as well.
There he is.
What a little content.
Smug Anders. That's it.
I know.
Well, I mean,
if there's ever a content, that's what.
he's not wrong, dude. The Danes did win. The Danes did win.
They did.
Top analysis here, already here in DreamHack Masters Malmö. But, I mean, let's bring it back down to a ground level. Duncan, where on earth did it go wrong for Astralis? Was it just... Because, I mean, let's be honest, the main point we made was they don't do anything special. They just play very standard and do it well.
Well, I mean, even though I said this obviously isn't one of the strongest maps for Astralis, this was one of the maps that they absolutely stomped all over Fnatic at on the major MLG Columbus in the quarterfinal. They were unreal on the T side there, and actually they mentioned it in the cast. One of the things that they're very good at in this map is the T side rounds. And obviously they didn't get that many on this particular half end. So you still thought, okay, classic old school Astralis when they were the Dignitas themselves. They always had strong CT halves. Maybe they can still do it, but actually that was kind of like a foreboding omen at that point in time because, yeah, Dignitas at that point, they just continued themselves on T side. They did have the better tactics in the end, and they were able to win this game.
They did it without KRB as well. Well, I mean, they did it with him, obviously, but you look at Config, up at 22 kills. He's the guy, he's having a fantastic tournament so far. Only 2 maps in, obviously, but this is a huge performance from him.
What's weird here, do you guys agree? It seems like when you look at the score and look at the kills and the stats, it doesn't seem like it was a 16-9 game. You wouldn't be able to tell from the stats the score, at least in my opinion. I mean, Config did stand out a bit. He had that really important round in the first half when he flashed himself through the smoke towards B, stopped the plant, got 2 kills or maybe even 3 kills in the end. And that was a really important round because it kept Dignitas in the game economically as well.
The hard part about this Dignitas, I just think they're pretty similar to Mouse in the sense that or Mouse Sports in the sense that they have the talent and the capability to do this. We just don't see this result often enough. And leading up to this, certainly those 2 teams came out flat. So that they have their wins today, how big they were. It's really impressive stuff from both of them. But it's just showing that they just need to show this form more consistently.
I mean, here's what's funny. When I put this team in my rankings, I mean, this is something we discussed already. I had them pretty high up. I think I had like number 5 or number 6. I think maybe this time around. And part of the reason why is because those good results they have had early in the year were actually better than everyone below them, basically. No one else can really match in terms of best of 3 wins, single map wins, top placings. They've had a pretty good run, but people made the comment, it's a justified question. You know, how can a team that can't even qualify for a major be number 6 in the world? This is how. That's what's shocking, is how can a team this good not even be able to qualify for the major? They were at the major qualifier. They finished in last place.
I just want to bring up the word consistency here because this is something that seems to be plaguing Dignitas ever since that initial slump, right? Is they've just picked up a win against Astralis. They've never done that before. It's going to be a question now, and a huge question is how long can they maintain that level of performance?
I think it mostly comes down to when we're talking about the major qualifier that they were a bit unlucky with the map randomizer, forced to play Inferno, which is not at the time, and I don't think it is now a good map for them, which is what surprised me in the veto process as well, that Astralis decided to veto Inferno instead of Cash. So I think in hindsight it would have been a much better map for them, but it has been also a month or even more from that major qualifier, so Dignitas did have time to polish their map pool as well, practice some new maps, as we can see, able to play Overpass and Cash pretty well.
I think Weatherman Yanko is actually going to be making an appearance sometime soon.
Yep.
I think he's got something special for us, Yanko. Why don't you go do your
naked news application?
Yeah.
Naked news application. He's going to go for a stroll, and we'll see what Yanko's got for us this time.
All right. So this time, I mean, this is a round where I'm going to talk about mid control basically, and here you can see the Astralis players throwing smokes towards the T spawn. So we're going to stop it here. So what they did in this round was throw the standard smokes. We can see one is still blooming. So they had 2 smokes here. The CT players, as you can see, are focused towards B and A. So they have no map control at this point, basically. And what that means is Device, who is more forward up in here, Kirby even saw him while he was spotting. And what happens right now is that Astralis is going to go for B. But the problem is because they have no map info, Kirby is probably giving information when he saw Device and the smokes fell here. They probably want to go for an A split, and this in turn caused a rotation from all of the Dignitas' players, which is a mistake in my opinion. Even if this is not enough to cause a rotation from all of your players basically. Yes, maybe the 2 players who are closer to A, they can move, but you also have Tensky in this position, and he knows he doesn't hear anything. So now we can play the rest of the clip. We can see what happens in this round. They're just all moving from the B bomb site, which allows a clear entry for Astralis and basically a free round for them, even with MSL getting a kill earlier on. So I would have preferred if they had just 1 player left in the bomb site until they saw the C4 on A, because he's not gonna help them much as a 5th player, but he is going to help his team a lot if he stays in the bomb site and buys some more time for the team to come back towards B. In the grand scheme of things, it didn't mean as much, because of course Dignitas did manage to win pretty convincingly, but it's something you would like to avoid generally, to over-rotate without good reason, basically.
Thanks very much, Yanko. I think the discussion about mid-control is something we're going to always bring up when it comes to cash, because it seems like some teams put a whole lot of emphasis on it and others completely forego it. It's not like what they did there on the CT side isn't something that can work.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not.
You can leave mid out, but then you have to play around it, right? There's some things you can do. Like it diminishes, it limits the information you have, which then causes you sometimes to rotate blindly. This is exactly what they did. I feel that maybe Kirby gave, some bad info, or maybe config wasn't supposed to rotate, but he did it on his own, and that's where some miscommunication happens. So this is not a mistake in itself, limiting mid. It's just that then you have to play differently if you don't have mid control.
And with that said, I think we need to kind of address Astralis going to be playing a best of 3 now. We've got to kind of set our sights on them and see, is it possible that we're going to be waving goodbye to the Danes before they even get a chance to get to the arena? Not going to happen?
It's actually at this point in time inconceivable. There's no reason that you could at the moment put forward as to why they would lose this best of 3. Now that's unfortunate because it doesn't really hype the match that much, except that if the Godsent was to win, it'd be one of the all-time great upsets. You could put it that way.
No, they're playing NIP.
Oh, NIP. Oh, that's right then.
This is what I'm saying.
That's the tricky one now.
This is what I'm saying.
That's the problem.
Still doesn't feel like it though, I don't think.
I don't know.
I mean, this was the NIP who got 16-2 smashed on Overpass by Dignitas, who's not even that strong on it.
It looked like a different team today, though, in their game.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty interesting matchup. I mean, we're going to get to talk about it tomorrow. I was surprised that here, what we don't see that... Yeah, I agree that their T side for Astralis is maybe better on cash, but after they won the CT pistol, and after that, they lost 7 rounds in a row. Like, even Astralis, even if they're not as good on CT as they were before, that's something you wouldn't expect from them. They were completely, I think, outplayed individually more than anything else. That whenever Dignitas, yes, they did make some good calls, but when it came to Astralis' players holding their ground and hitting the shots, they just couldn't manage to do it in the fashion we're used to.
Which was the same issue that NIP had yesterday against Dignitas as well. It just came down to those battles. Dignitas just coming in with a lot of confidence right now, and I mean, it's kind of crazy to see just that switch that looks flipped. All of a sudden, Dignitas is just rolling over teams when they're entering bomb sites and taking map control. So really good level that they've hit these past 2 days. And the surprises just keep on coming here in DreamHack Masters Malmö. I mean, you wouldn't have expected to see Maus here in the fashion that they got here, and now it's just happened again. Astralis have conceded the defeat, and now Dignitas have 2 days off. They're going to be putting their feet up and chilling, preparing themselves for those quarter-finals. We're going to be seeing more from Astralis versus NIP tomorrow. That's going to be a huge game. And we're going to be seeing CLG Godsent as well, so could still see a North American in the quarter-final. We'll be seeing what the Swedes can do. But it's time for us to take a break, and before we do so, a reminder again about the Score eSports. It's available both on your web and on your phone. You can get it on iOS and Google Play, so all of the devices it's available. Go check that one out, you guys. Go do that. And we're going to take 5 minutes before we come back with your final game of the day. It is going to be the Poles, Virtus Pro, battling versus the Brazilians. We get to see what Tempo Storm can do as they prepare themselves for our final game of day 2 here at DreamHack Masters Malmö.